What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. The goal, the purpose of this video today is to determine what the price will be, not just by the end of this day, but by the end of this week on a weekly time frame here. We have 6 days, 19 hours left, so hopefully we can get a good estimation, a good approximation as to where the price should be by the end of this week, and then getting us set up for the end of the month as well. If that all sounds good to you, hit the like button, subscribe. Let's get into it. So looking at this thing, I think on a 4-hour basis might be a good way to start. Looking at it on a 4-hour basis, well, we have still been consolidating, right? Yesterday we had this look where it seemed as though we had this kind of ascending triangle look with these flat highs and ascending lows. And I was calling for a breakout move that would likely take us up to 98K. I was saying if it didn't happen yesterday, that it might happen between either today or the next day, right, within the next 3 days. I am a bit surprised that we didn't move up yesterday. I got excited on this little pump here up to about 96K. I thought that was going to be our move up to the kind of upper ends of resistance in this range at about 98K there or higher. But that's okay. It didn't happen yesterday. I still assume that it might happen either today, if not today, tomorrow, but soon enough we will likely be at this $98,000, $99,000 range, right below 100K. I suspect what we're going to do to start this week off, right? Today is Monday, right? Or is it Tuesday? Today's Tuesday. Today's Monday. Today is Monday. Okay, so to start this week off, we likely do move up to about 100K, rather like immediately, Monday, Tuesday, something like that. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, we probably pull back to about 96K. And then I would assume Thursday, Friday, Saturday, end of the week, we start pressing higher. We close the week above 100K. Likely we would see prices around this area, something between about like $101,000 to $103,000. I think by the end of the week is kind of my assumption. If not higher, absolutely it could go higher, but I am expecting something like this, by the end of the week, more or less, right? It might not be at this exact pace. Maybe it's a little bit slower, or like it doesn't have, like I don't know, but the end of the week would be something like over here, right? That's the end of the week right there. So until that time, you have to get to like this price here. Now, I think that you will get to that price there. If we look at this on a daily basis, the reason why I like that price at this high here is if you take a high to a low of this range, that is right there in our golden ratio zone. Likely whenever even though we've already interacted with this area, likely because we've seen such a pullback, such a deep pullback from this area, right? Normally from the 618 to 69, you don't pull back all the way this deep. So likely when we do interact with this area again, I would expect to find resistance again. But this time let's do it right. Let's find resistance and then find support at the 0.5 or the 382. The 0.5 being at about 99K, the 382 being at about 97K. If we were, so maybe we actually don't find support at 96K. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe what we do, okay, no. Now I remember what it is. We move up to 99K, 98K first. Then we move down to 96K for support. Then we make our move up, right? That's what I was saying. By the end of this week, yeah. Okay, so, but likely we do find resistance there between about 101,500 to 103,000, somewhere in that range. We'll pull back probably sometime next week to about 99,000, and then to end the month of January, that last week in January, I think that's when we will start to move up to new highs, new all-time highs. We might be, fresh breaking all-time highs. We might be at new all-time highs by that point. I was suspecting that by the end of January, we'd be at $130,000 because that is what the average kind of move would call for as far as bullish Januaries go. After an election year, after a halving year. But we're here now. It is the 13th. We definitely have time. My call, by the way, for the end of January was at 132K to 134K. It still is. Actually, I would say that it still is there. I do kind of anticipate that we could be there. But if we were to be there by the end of January, we'd have to see something pick up at a faster pace than what I'm calling for, right? By the end of this week, based off this analysis, by the end of this week, we would have to be at new all-time highs, right? And then next week, we would have a chance of seeing 130K. So if I'm wrong, the only way that if I'm wrong in this week's analysis and I'm right in my monthly analysis, it would take us being at basically new all-time highs, if not at our all-time highs, by the end of this week. So we'll know here, right? If it's at a faster pace that I'm calling for, then that 130K by the end of this month will likely happen. But if it's the exact pace that I'm calling for, which is essentially we move up to about $99,000, about there, just below 100K, 98 to 99K, but probably just above 99K. Then we'll move down to about 96K for support, and then we'll probably move up to about 102K, 103K, something like that for resistance by the end of the week is what I'm expecting. If we're any higher than this by the end of the week, if we close the week, you guys, above $103,000, I think that adds to the chances, that adds to the likelihood that we will see not just new all-time highs by the end of the month, but something that is closer to $130,000 by the end of the month. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I certainly do expect that those prices will be achieved next month nonetheless. 130K to 142K, if not higher, by the end of February is the expectation. Prices as high as 175K should even be considered. And I know that that's laughable to some people. You hear those numbers, you're like, 175K, what are you talking about? You're crazy. But if we look at this, from a low here to the high that we saw in this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 week period, right? If we just take it from this low here, 1, 2, 6 weeks there, I mean, that puts us at 137K, and that would be literally the end of January. So if we started this move here, if we started it now, that'd be like the middle of February, or not even the middle, the very beginning of February, we'd be at about 140K. So let alone, and then that's just if we copied this part of that move, right? Let alone if we see extra growth going through February, right? Or seeing a little bit of extra growth in the meantime now by the end of January. We absolutely could see 170K by the end of February. If you're not prepared for that, if you don't expect it, or maybe not expect it, if you don't accept it as a possibility, that can really mess with you, right? It can mess with your targets, right? I definitely think that what you should do as far as Bitcoin goes, and I'm not a financial advisor, not financial advice. What you should do is up to you. But what I would do is I would always anticipate higher prices. I'm anticipating by the end of February, we're probably around 150 to 140K, but always anticipate higher prices because you could be at higher prices. You don't want to sell anything here and then miss an opportunity to sell up here, right? Yeah, and at any rate, I'm not selling anyways, man. I'm not going to sell to the end of the cycle, but I'm just rambling at this point. I think I've said everything I need to say, right? I think Bitcoin's going to move up. I don't think it's going to move down. If it moves down from here, get a 4-hour candle to close below $92,000. If you do that, then we are moving lower. We'll move down to 85K, 87K. But when you get above 96K, that's how you know it's on to about 100K, 99K, somewhere around that area. And then we'll probably pull back to 96K, and then we'll probably move up to about 102K, 103K. To end the week, a faster pace than that is welcome. A faster pace than that would likely point us to higher targets by the end of the month. But these are the expectations I'm leaving out for you now. So if you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.